Welcome to Nonstop. It's the official and season show of Kirk, Herbstreit, and Joey Galloway. Your first stop for all things football, college and pro, every Monday.
All right, Joey, here we go. Another edition of Nonstop. Joseph Scott Galloway and myself, Joey and Chili. He said you got snow on the ground in Columbus, Ohio on this November 10th. When did it snow? Over the weekend or this morning? Uh-oh. No mic. No mic, my man. You're gonna have to dabble with that. And we'll get back to you as soon as you can figure that one out. You figuring this out? Oh, we'll catch you at the end of the show. Whatever Jake and Ty will help you out. But an unbelievable weekend of college football. I don't even know where to start. I guess the most obvious place, which eventually we'll get Joey's take on, is the Penn State Indiana game. I mean, there was, the trip to Lubbock was incredible. The entire time we were there, just the entire trip was amazing. But we were all glued to our TVs as Penn State showed some life and showed that they're still fighting. And then Indiana, to their credit, and people could say whatever they want about Indiana, Penn State. I don't buy that for a second. Penn State still has a talented roster. The season has gotten off the tracks, but what they were able to. Oh, I think I may have heard you.
Yeah. Hello.
I got you.
This thing is not working, but
I hear it sounds like you're in like a mic that's like off the distance.
I'm playing Jake in time for this.
Yeah.
Do you need me to step in here?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. That little microphone, that little up arrow. Try to find the Shure mic. The mic's unmuted. If you go and click the little up arrow on that little mic, like we did with the camera earlier.
Like on the monitor or on his mic?
On his, nothing with the mic, nothing with the physical mic, on his screen here.
On your screen. Yeah. Joey, we're going to let you get to the bottom of that. And let me, Ty, I'll get, you can text him that. I'm just going to finish up just his thought, because we can hear him on the other mic. But going down to Lubbock was amazing. Like I said, the trip was amazing. The game, they lived up to it, having Mahomes there, just an epic atmosphere. But I think what we all took away, I think I was upstairs in the booth transitioning. We were upstairs watching the game. We're watching it. We watch games as we call games. And I just was thinking, wow, Penn State's coming back. Wow, Penn State's taking the lead. And then they sack Mendoza on that last drive. And you're thinking, they have all the momentum. And Penn State did what they needed to do, put themselves in position to win the game. But man, Indiana, to me, this was right up there next to winning at Oregon, coming up with the drive of the year, responding from that sack. And then Omar Cooper, I don't even know how you call that the catch of the year. Like, it was one of the greatest catches I've ever seen ever, at any level. There you are.
This is not working. We're going to play with that a little later.
Okay. And what I appreciate you hopping in here. I wanted to ask you, as a receiver, when you're up in the air, catch the ball, you look down, you're getting pushed, which is not a penalty anymore in college football. You're getting pushed out of bounds. What was more impressive, getting the 1 foot elevated, the right foot elevated, or the left foot down? I mean, did the right foot end up touching inbounds too? I thought it was.
I don't think so. But you sort of let your feet die, and you're reaching, like, he can't tell which foot's going to make it. He's in the air. This thing, we slow it down so much, and it makes it look like it's just this really slow thing that happens. That happens so quick. You reach both feet out and try to touch one down. I will bet you he didn't know that his right foot didn't hit the ground. Because at first, when you first looked at it, you thought that right toe, you just sitting there, you're getting close to your screen, you're looking. And then you realize it wasn't
insane.
The right toe, it was the left toe. The left foot getting in is what made the play.
That's incredible.
Absolutely.
I mean, not only, game. I mean, if you did that in practice on a Tuesday, we'd be like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But with everything on the line, this guy, the throw was great. The catch was, we'll be talking about that catch forever. I remember Charles Rogers at Michigan State against Notre Dame made a kind of a similar catch late in a game to win a game way back. But this was one of the greatest catches I've ever seen ever at any level, just because, like I said, Indiana, they're having a magical season, kind of a team of destiny. I think you and I agree what they did in Oregon. I don't care if Oregon's not the team that they appear to be early in the year. They're still a very good team, especially at home. So what they did there, you go to Penn State again. I'm not one of these guys that says Penn State's having a terrible year. You and I know what Penn State's like. You know, the atmosphere, the lion roaring. I mean, and their fans are desperate for a win.
Yeah.
They came all the way back. The place is about to just collapse. And you put that drive together. That was to me the image of the weekend.
I agree with you. The crazy, and I'm with you. Penn State is a talented football team, and you look at the way they played that game, and it sort of felt like early on, especially in the first half, that it was Indiana's game. They go in, I think it was 17-7 at halftime, and it just felt like, okay, we come back in the second half. We're going to get back to Indiana is going to then take over. And I realized this is the same Penn State team. I think they went in, was it 14-14 in the first half against Ohio State?
It was, I'll go back and look, but it was definitely right. Close game.
In Columbus. So, I mean, this is still a talented Penn State football
my God,
team. This is by no stretch not talented.
Yeah.
And to be on the road, like you said.
It was 17-14 Ohio State at half against Penn State.
So
and then Ohio State pulled away.
Yeah, this is so the respect we have for this Penn State team hasn't gone anywhere. I'm with you.
No.
They're talented. They've lost a lot of football games, but they're talented. And when you watched, it wasn't just that, but to be struggling on offense and then need to put a drive together where it's like, we need not just that play. Becker makes a play on the sideline. He goes up, makes a great catch on the sideline.
Yep.
To get that going. To me, when you're a top-ranked team like Indiana, you almost need, you hate to say that, but you need to go through something during a season just to know that you can, so that when you get in those, because games are going to get tougher. You get into the playoff, you get to the Big Ten championship game, it's going to be tougher. There's going to be moments where you need to step up and make a play like that in a tough situation. And now Indiana has that in their pocket where they know doesn't matter. We can make plays when we need to, come back, get a big win on the road when we need to. And they may need that later in the playoffs. I think that's huge for them.
Yeah, and I would throw the Oregon game in there with that the style in which they had and the way they won that football game.
Yeah.
The second half, I mean, the game looked like, okay, Indiana's going to take care of this poor Penn State team. With they've had so much. It was 20-7, I think, at one point in the third quarter. And to Penn State's credit, by the way, those guys, how impressive are they? You could say, quote unquote, they have nothing to play for in this new era of guys opting out and whatever. That's not going on at State College. I mean, Terry Smith deserves a lot of credit. They're down 20-7. They get it to 20-10. Indiana punts this early, the first drive in the fourth quarter. Touchdown for Penn State. Now the crowd's really going. Interception for Penn State. Now you're really in position. Touchdown. They take the lead. Indiana gets the ball back. Punt. I mean, it's like, holy cow. Penn State's going to come up with this huge win. And then their last possession, sack with all this momentum and everything going against them, sack to start off a potential game-winning drive. I mean, you're looking at a 2nd and 17 with like a minute 50 or so to go, and you're in no huddle mode. And Mendoza hits a huge pass to Cooper that ends up getting a first down. And I think that kind of got them into a mode of, okay, we overcame that sack. Let's get this thing going. But still, the tight end catch, and then it set up unbelievable moment there at the end. But yeah, kudos.
Much like you, we were working at the time. We're on air.
Yeah.
Doing a fill between games with this game on the side.
Yep.
And you're trying to do your job and you're trying to work, but you're watching this happen. absolutely amazing. I yelled, and we're on live
I think
TV.
everyone did, right?
Yeah, we're on
No
live
matter where
TV,
you were.
and it
Oh
was just
my
like,
gosh.
what
Yeah.
and then you're just sitting there waiting on the replay. All right, let's
Yeah.
go back. Look, we got to look at it, and then you're like, oh my gosh, he made a play.
Yeah. Yeah. That was, like I said, I think that's the best catch I've ever seen with what was at stake, not just the catch, but the footwork. And how about the referee? I saw his name online. I mean, he had a vanity. He had to get out of the way, keeping his eyes down, focused on the feet. And then he comes up with touchdown. And it's one thing to go frame by frame. Of course, it's a touchdown. But in the heat of the moment, as fast as that happened, him to get out of the way and still keep his vision on that back line, and he nails it. I mean, that was as much as we rip officials, how great was it to see that guy just dialed in, could not have had better technique and a better call. So kudos to him for doing that.
You sort of feel bad for Penn State. I mean, they've been through. I don't know if you noticed, but they had all the orange coats lined up to control the crowd when they're going to win. Obviously, they're going to storm the field.
Yeah, they deserve it after the
all
year
the
they've
orange
had.
coats lined up right there where the touchdown happens. You can see the orange coats are like, "Oh my gosh, we just lost."
Yeah,
yeah.
It's like what else could go against them?
What else could happen?
Yeah.
Yes. What else could happen? We already lost 5 in a row. What else could happen?
Yeah. Well, the other one that stood out, obviously, Texas Tech and BYU. BYU, ranked, I think they were 7th last year in the rankings, undefeated, and came into Lubbock. And Texas Tech, from really the beginning of the game to the end of the game, I don't think they could have been any more dominant. If they would have finished in the red zone, this scores 40 in the 40s to 7. I mean, it was a complete, thorough beat down of BYU. There's a good chance these teams could meet again in Arlington in a Big 12 championship. But BYU, they looked, their defense is outstanding. They've had a great year, but against this offense, I felt like they looked a step slower. Texas Tech looked very complete, like they looked all year. We wondered would they still look complete, ability to run, ability to throw it, ability to play defense, special teams, and they did. So by the way, the hospitality in Lubbock, Texas, I don't know if you've ever been to West Texas.
I have not.
The nicest human beings on the face of the earth. Like, they are collectively, no matter where you went, it's just gratitude and appreciation for the football team they have, for the coach that they have, for game day of being there. They're just high on life, just happy, proud of where they're from. And it came across, everywhere we went. The students are just, I mean, if you're looking to get like a pick me up on where America is right now, head down to Lubbock, Texas. If you need like a weekend of just feel good about red, white, and blue in America. And they care about their families. They care about their country. They care about the state of Texas. They care about football.
They go on the road at Cincinnati in a few weeks.
Yeah,
that'd
be a good one.
That'll be a good one, because Cincinnati was a team that everyone's sort of talking about. Everyone's sort of high on there for a second, and then they get beat handily by Utah. But when you look at the Big 12 standings, I mean, that game could say a lot about who's going to get into the Big 12 championship game. Because Cincinnati's still sitting there with the one loss in conference. So the Big 12 is going to be interesting with BYU playing Cincinnati later on, I think the 22nd.
Yeah.
And so when you got 3 teams with one loss in the Big 12, Cincinnati being one of those, and they get the other one-loss team at home in BYU, that'll be their chance to make their statement to sort of get in this conversation also.
In Big 12 with Texas Tech and BYU, and we'll see tomorrow night when you reveal the CFP rankings, but the AP, they only dropped 4 spots. They dropped down to 12. The coaches have them at 12 as well. I mean, that's a pretty good indicator that they're probably not going to fall that far out of the CFP rankings. And if you think about Texas Tech and who they are, BYU, you got Utah, who's obviously righted the ship. They're looking good. They're a top 15 team. I mean, the Big 12 is going to make a strong case depending on how this thing ends up. the possibility of not just 2, but depending on how BYU responds to their first loss, it'd be interesting to see. There's currently we kind of break this down by conference. Look at the Big 12 with BYU and Texas Tech, and Cincinnati theoretically with the opportunity to play Texas Tech. But I think the 3 you would focus on, could all 3 get in? Who knows? BYU, Texas Tech, and Utah sitting down there. Look at who Utah still has to play. Very strong chance that the Utes have a chance to finish up, winning them all. They have Baylor, Kansas State, and Kansas. So you could have a Utah team standing there at 10-2. When you keep winning games, you're not going to go backwards in the rankings. And if they don't make it to Arlington, they might have a chance to make a case as an at-large. I like breaking the CFP rankings down like this.
Yes.
The SEC, look at all the way down. That line, obviously, kind of the equator of like who is in currently, who's still knocking on the door. See the Big Ten with their 3. We've talked on and on about who that 4th team could be.
Yep.
This is after last week's rankings. So Washington and Iowa no longer will be there when we do these rankings moving forward.
So it'll be interesting to see what they do with Iowa, having lost a close game to Oregon the way they did in that weather. It'll be interesting to see if Iowa is still ranked, sitting at 21 right now.
I don't think they can be. I don't know. If they are, it'd be hanging on by a thread.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You lose to Oregon, which was number 9, last second field goal.
Yeah.
It's one of those things
I hear you. I hear what you're saying.
When you get to the back end, it's like, who would you say is better?
Right.
And I think with the committee using a lot of eye test, like they did in the first week, I would not be surprised to see Iowa still ranked on the back end of the top 25. If they're not, I understand that also. But losing to Oregon on a last second field goal when Oregon's number 9, I wouldn't be surprised if Iowa's still hanging on.
And we talked about Iowa last week. I mean, a 3-point loss against a rival on the road at Ames, Iowa State. Played Indiana as well as anybody. Lost by 5 at home. And then, by the way, I thought it'd be that I picked 16-15 Iowa. I thought it'd be one of those typical November, dark, it's gray, it's cold, it's raining, it's snowing. Iowa's up 16-15. They win the game, and it almost played out exactly that way until Oregon gets the late opportunity to win the game. So I'm with you. I see what you're saying. It's just sitting there at 6-3, even though all 3 of their losses could have gone the other way, and coming off a loss like that, it's if they kept them ranked. By the way, they had them ranked when the AP and the coaches poll didn't. So
absolutely right.
The committee definitely.
You would think Washington's out of the top 25.
Yep.
And so I would not be surprised tomorrow night.
And I think if you're looking for who could potentially, if you go back to that last graphic that we had up there about the conferences in the Big Ten, it's really, if you're looking for that 4th team. And by the way, let's not just assume Oregon's going to keep winning out. I mean, Oregon is on a slippery slope. Yeah. They are not the dominant team that we just thought, just you throw those jerseys out, they just blow everybody out by 40. It's not that way this year for them, as we've seen. But if we look at those 3, Indiana, Ohio State, and Oregon, the next 2 are USC and Michigan. Michigan has probably the best opportunity because they still have Ohio State to play. And if they got to 9-2, they would be playing Ohio State. I think we would all agree, with an opportunity at 9-2 if they beat Ohio State at home to get to 10-2, they're in. I don't know who's out, but Michigan be possible to not.
Somebody got to go. But you also look at USC has a shot, and they play Oregon. Yeah. So and we talked about this before, the back end of the season in the Big Ten, when we talk about who can be the 4th team, if there is a 4th team, there's going to be teams with an opportunity to make that argument. Iowa just had their opportunity, came up a little short. USC is going to play Oregon. Ohio State has to go play Michigan. So both those teams have a chance to at least get into the conversation. Now, tricky things happen here with who wins your conference championship game also. Let's just say Cincinnati gets into the Big 12 championship game. Say they beat BYU, they get in. Now all of a sudden they beat Texas Tech if that's who they play, it changes things. The
Oh, yeah.
ACC is the same way.
I mean,
ACC 5 teams with 1 loss.
How about the ACC? How they started off with Florida State beating Alabama. They had a great opening weekend, and since then it's been tough. I mean, the last 2 weeks, the teams at the top end up going down. Georgia Tech, Miami, and then last week Louisville goes down, Virginia goes down. They're going to be lucky. They should just be happy. Whoever wins the game and Charlotte is the ACC champ. Just be appreciative that they get a team. Just take your one team, move on. That one team will advance. And let's hope it's Georgia Tech and Miami. That by the way, Pitt's kind of out there as an outlier. Pitt, they really are. I mean,
hey, listen, if you think Pitt can run the rest of their schedule, absolutely right.
This new quarterback's balling. And they get Notre Dame at home. They get Georgia Tech. I think they have Georgia Tech on the road, and then they end with Miami.
Yeah.
And if they win those 3, they're going to Charlotte, playing for the right to get into the CFP. And you know what? I wouldn't mind that personally if they were to win these last 3, because you're talking about a team of momentum.
Yes.
That would be Pitt. So they've been a different team with this quarterback. I mean, he's been fun to watch, and I think it's galvanized the entire team, not just the offense. But that's the ACC. What about the SEC? A&M, Alabama, Georgia. We've been talking about this all year.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the 4. And now Texas gets a chance because they're going into Athens, seems to be playing off of a bye week, getting healthier, maybe playing some of their best football, at least offensively. Oklahoma, John Mateer getting healthy and healthier. That second half against Tennessee, also a bye week. They go into Tuscaloosa. You got Vandy that's still out there. So this weekend is kind of judgment day as far as this conference is concerned. We're going to have a lot more clarity when it comes to what direction they're going and who ends up surviving. Pat's calling me here. He knows we're on the air. Let's see what he wants real quick. What are you up to?
I'm cooking right now,
Bro, we're on the air, Joey and I. And
do you want to come on and victory lap it right now about this Oregon and Iowa thing today, or send a video?
Yeah. I'll text me. I'll hop on for sure. Here's Joey.
What are we doing here? What's going on, big fella?
Hey, go ahead.
Hey, Joey, nonstop. Let a naysayer know, Joey.
Patrick, what's up, man?
Oh, we love you. Hey, we're
still doing this.
We are just trying to lead into you, bring some viewers to you. Not that you need them, but the few that we have, we're just trying to happily drop them off at your doorstep at noon.
We are very grateful for that. You guys just stealing everybody's rights too, which I fucking love.
Yo, yeah.
Life, baby. Outlaw life. We used to live like that. All right.
All right. Text me.
The show is awesome.
Text me when you need me. All right, babe. All right.
Hey. The boys want to say.
Let's get Pat on the show one of these days.
Oh, we have. Hey, I got to come on there with Ty to talk about Iowa.
Yeah, you ruined it. Okay.
All right. All right. See ya. All right. Sorry about that. He's fired up about his boy Ty Schmidt's Iowa Hawkeye. And when I picked 16-15, everyone thought I ruined picking Iowa because it went from being sneaky to not being sneaky.
Mm-hmm.
But Iowa played well enough to win that game. They win that game. So how did we end up with the SEC? With Alabama, Oklahoma, Texas, Georgia? They going to get 4? They going to get 5?
Definitely getting 4. I agree with you this weekend. The Texas Longhorns, who just, it felt really bad for a long time. It just felt like, they're out of it.
Yep.
That's not just to get them out the way. They played their best game of the season against Vandy 2 weeks ago, and you're right, they're going to a bye week, and now they go to Georgia. Finally, we saw Georgia play 4 quarters.
Complete game. They look great.
Yeah, finally Georgia gave us 4 quarters. That'll be a game to watch. That one will be interesting to see what happens with that. Texas has a chance to shake things up. Oklahoma has a chance to shake things up as they play Alabama. So you're right. This weekend, this Saturday is going to be a lot of fun because of this shake-up and all this. And it just might just stay status quo. If Alabama wins their game, then obviously they look like they're on a crash course with Texas A&M. Although Texas also plays Texas A&M. So Texas will have a lot to say about what
Who,
happened.
who
in
do
the
you think
SEC.
has a better chance on the road? Oklahoma going to Tuscaloosa, Texas going to Athens. By the way, when those two teams left the Big 12 and everybody said, okay, now you're going to find out what it's like in the big boy pool. This is the kind of weekend that teams like Texas, they're fans of Texas and fans of Oklahoma. This is a proving opportunity. And I think they've done it already in these couple of years they've been in the SEC. But it's fun to see both these teams are going in traditional powers of the SEC. Yeah. Who do you think has a better chance to compete and pull off an upset? Or maybe you think both of them do?
I'm going to say Texas, simply because they played their best game against Vandy, and then they went into a bye week to get healthy. And so I think because we've seen Georgia not play 4 quarters, if Texas can get off to a fast start, if they can run the football and once again just take the pressure off of their quarterback, I don't think that the playmaking ability that Texas showed against Vandy, where a bunch of missed tackles, a bunch of long, big plays that started as swing passes and then turned into huge plays down the field, I don't think that happens against Georgia. But if they can run the football, then they have a shot at putting Georgia in a position where, okay, you better come to play in the second half. Georgia's done it, but I think Texas is talented enough to do that. Oklahoma, I'm not saying they can't beat Alabama.
The second half Oklahoma team that played against Tennessee.
Yes.
And by the way, I haven't heard if R. Mason Thomas is healthy in that bye week. He's such an integral part of their pass rush and their defense. But that second half team against Tennessee, Gutier was decisive. He's back there making plays. He's scrambling. He's running. It just felt like they looked like the first 4 weeks, Oklahoma. At any point since the injury, that was the one time I thought, okay, boy, if they can bottle this up and go to Tuscaloosa, they could be competitive. But
yeah, I agree. I agree with you. I think coming off of that game, the Oklahoma, Tennessee, and the Texas Vandy,
yeah,
I felt better about Texas.
Yeah,
Texas, the Tennessee Oklahoma game sort of felt like Tennessee had them and sort of let it go in the second half. I mean, they didn't put their foot on them in the first half when they really had their opportunities. And then Oklahoma found a way to win. Texas dominated Vandy. 4 quarters. I know Vandy made the comeback.
And he came back there. Yeah,
they made the comeback. You need an onside kick to get the ball back to go down and have to score. Yeah.
But I mean, even before that, the game was out of reach. It looked like Texas was finally going to have a definitive moment and a statement.
That felt definitive to me. I felt good about Texas. And probably because I saw what I expected to see from Texas all along. Playmakers making big plays for their quarterback, defensive line dominating the football game. I feel like that's what I expected to see out of Texas and just hadn't seen it.
Right. I got you. Hey, we're gonna Joey and I do this every week from 11 to 12. A lot of times we have a guest on right in the middle. This week we just felt like there was a lot to talk about and a lot to get into with you all. So if you have questions, we're going to start to get to those questions in just a minute. This my son Ty says, if you're enjoying these live streams, please subscribe and leave a thumbs up. It helps the show grow, and turn on notifications if you want to know when we go live here on YouTube. So we've had a lot of fun. Just kind of Joey and I get a chance to catch up, get a chance to talk about stuff we don't talk about, other than when we're both so busy. We don't get a chance to talk to each other about a lot of these topics, except for right now. So it's fun for us. We also, by the way, do a Tuesday night reaction to the rankings show.
Okay. Did that work? Is that working?
It did.
I'm back.
Yeah, bring that mic in tight.
I'm back on microphone.
But Joey, last Tuesday night, you and I did a rankings reaction. You were back at the hotel after you did the show live with Boog and Reese and Greg, and appreciated taking that time. People seem to enjoy the reaction. So we'll do a post CFP ranking show Tuesday night, very similar, whether it's YouTube or We'll go live on X and on Instagram.
We also
But
take questions there also. So
yeah,
if you have questions about what you just saw on the rankings,
yep,
that's a great time to ask.
yeah. And Ty and Jake kind of run this from behind the scenes. We appreciate their IT support and understanding of YouTube and all that, because Joey
their
and I are
understanding
lost.
of dealing with us.
Oh,
And
we're a
I
mess.
get on 30 minutes early just because they have to walk me through how do I get my mic working, how do I get my camera working, how do they send me a tweet, how do they send me an Instagram. They've been amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we would be lost without their leadership from behind the scenes. So we appreciate and what I just read from Ty, I have no idea what that means, but he seems to understand it. So that's all that matters is he does it. All right, we're going to start hitting your questions. So again, feel free to hop in here. Oregon versus Texas. We'll say neutral site. Who wins Oregon against Texas? Nice hypothetical for you to start it off.
You want me to start?
Yeah, what do you think?
From what I've seen, and
Texas right now, the
Texas right now, the Texas and again, I'm just going off of Texas versus Vandy. If you asked me before the Vandy game, I think my answer is different. The Texas we watched against Vandy, I'll take that Texas team in a close game. I'm not 100% sold on Oregon. I think they're a really good football team. Resume not great, but I am not sold that they just haven't.
What's Oregon's best win?
Look the same.
What's Oregon's best win? At Iowa last week?
Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely their best win.
I mean,
what would you put next to that? What would you say their second best win is?
Northwestern.
I would say I thought you would grab your sunglasses. Like, why are you asking me?
No, Wisconsin, Northwestern. That's it.
That's why their margin for error is razor thin.
Yeah,
they can't.
Let's look at what's Texas's best win that they have right now? Oklahoma
for sure.
Vanderbilt. And this might sound crazy, but going to Mississippi State this year is not easy. I know for people that are outside of that region or that conference.
The crazy part is it's not easy. It's not really easy. You look at their record and it should be easy, but it hasn't. I think they're going
bowling this year. I mean, they're not a terrible team at all, especially at home. So, I mean, they got into a shootout, Mississippi State. Jeff Levy knows how to coach offense. That guy is a genius with one of those up-tempo offenses. I'd give Texas the nod with the way Arch has kind of gotten through the doldrums. Seems like they're getting healthier. You know, I still think Texas, when they're balanced, when Sark is running the football, absolutely, and they're winning the line of scrimmage, they are a threat. When they put it all on the passing game, I feel like they're just not in rhythm.
It looks and feels bad when it's all on the passing game.
Yeah, I like Trey Wiseman when they get him going and Baxter. Kirk and Joey, if we have a national championship today, who would you pick to win it? Well, I mean, first of all, who would be in it? I think, you'd have probably Ohio State, Indiana, A&M would be the three that a lot of people would focus on because they're up at the top. Don't sleep on Alabama and Georgia right now. Ole Miss even. Mm-hmm. I think there's a Texas Tech is a team that could be in the discussion. You could make a case for them being as complete of a team as anybody. Julian Sayin just continues to impress all of us. I think the Ohio State vertical passing game that was on display, I think, in the playoff last year with Will Howard, but it wasn't going into the playoff. That's why I think a lot of people are like, wow, what's going on here? They started to throw the ball downfield in that playoff. I feel like they're doing that a lot more in the regular season with Julian Sayin. And you have Carnell Tate, you have Jeremiah Smith, Ennis. They got so many weapons. Max Clare. I mean, I would give Ohio State a nod as one of the teams in there. Who they play, I mean, it's your best guess. I would give A&M right now the advantage with Marcel Reed and the way he's playing and the way they're playing defense. They get you to third down, pretty much a lock for a punt. But I would probably give Ohio State A&M as we sit here November 10th. We'll obviously look back at this, but I think those would be the two teams. And I'd probably give Ohio State because of the firepower, the nod there over A&M.
Okay, let me ask you a question here because we just went through Oregon's who's their best win. Who would you say? Let's do the same thing with Ohio State.
Best
you were to
win.
say like who's their?
I'll just give you the wins that made me say that's a good job. At Washington, I don't care what anybody says.
Okay.
Anytime you win at Washington, that's a good win.
Uh-huh.
At Illinois was a good. I mean, they blew Illinois out on the road. That's not a bad win. And I think as Penn State has shown, they're still a physically talented team. They were close at halftime. They ended up pulling away. Those are probably their 3 wins. And I don't think any of those make you go, holy cow, look what they've done. But those are 3, I think, solid wins. A big one coming up at the end of the year with Michigan. But truly, I think a lot of people, it's snowing right now here. I think a lot of people are waiting for the Big Ten championship game against Indiana to truly find out both those teams. Indiana's been tested a lot more, but both those teams, who the better team is. And whoever loses, you're still in the playoff, but whoever wins that game will get the bye. But I would say Ohio State and A&M for now.
It's interesting when you go, and it depends on how you win your football games, whether we have a conversation about, well, who have you beat? Ohio State has been dominant in their games. If you look at the resume, not a great win on there. It's not, but the way they were winning their games, the way they look. And if you go back to Tuesday night, I think the committee said by eye test, when you look at Jeremiah Smith, when you look at Carnell Tate, who didn't even play last weekend.
Yeah.
When you look at these guys, when you watch Julian Sand throwing the ball downfield and making these,
and the defense, which to me has been one of the great stories of the year.
Their defense has been absolutely amazing.
Lost 8 guys off that team from last year and the D coordinator, and they look, so far they look as good, if not better, defense.
Which honestly, when you, and they're my number 1 team in the country. If they were to play Texas A&M right now on a neutral site, because
it'd be in Miami. For this discussion, the person asked who's going to win it all.
I don't know that I'm picking them to beat Texas A&M right now. I would have to really dig deep and really sit down and think that one through. I think that, and honestly, having Marcel Reed on here gave me a couple more notches of what I think of Texas A&M.
I'm right there with you.
And their weapons. If you look at A&M and what they've done, they're an offensive football team that says, "Hey, we got some weapons too. we got Craver, we got Concepcion on the outside. We got 2 good running backs.
They're balanced.
And then you have Marcel Reed, who can also run the ball. They have a defensive line. That would be I'd have to think that one through.
Yeah, I would really. So you give A&M maybe a nod.
If you say where am I leaning?
Yeah, A&M.
I'm gonna lean A&M.
Nothing wrong with that. They're a great football team. All right, what's the next question for us here? Does Rutgers beat Penn State to make a bowl game? Never thought we'd get that one. I like that.
I like that one also.
Does Rutgers beat Penn State? First of all, I think it's cool that, and I think it's still relevant to talk about teams that are still trying to make bowl games. I know 100%. That sounds 1990, but guess what? They already passed by the Ohio State game. They're just saying, okay, they're going to lose to Ohio State. But what about, it's sitting there with 5 wins. What about the possibility of beating Penn State?
At home.
Yeah.
They get Penn State at home.
And you know why these are impossible hypotheticals? Because you know what you can't do in the NIL portal era is find out who is invested.
Who cares?
From 1 week to the next.
Yep. Who is going to care in that moment?
Yeah, can Greg Schiano stand in front of his team, assuming if they lose to Ohio State, and go to that last week of practice and guys, we're 5-6. But you know what? We got Penn State. A lot of you guys know these guys from high school football. It's a rivalry game. I guess just the competitive nature of the individual. It's impossible as outsiders to plug into that and understand whether it's Rutgers or Penn State or Florida or wherever. Are they still locked in? Do they still want to play football?
You're talking about a Penn State team that's now lost 6 in a row. If they beat Indiana at home, I think they're a different football team.
Well, what if they beat Michigan State and they beat Nebraska?
So
now they're at 5 wins.
And that is your question. You take a team like Penn State, who's in a situation where they've lost 5 in a row. They're playing an Indiana team. They're going to be up for that one. Indiana's number 2 in the country. They're going to be up 100%. Almost pull it off. Are you still up?
It's another body blow.
Are you still up? Yeah. And then you're going on the road to Michigan State. How much do you care?
I think without knowing, first of all, there was a time when going for some of these programs, going to a bowl game, like a coach saying, guys, we're bowl eligible. I mean, it was a huge deal.
Oh, I remember you drugged me down to Memphis.
Yeah, well, we weren't real excited about that, but
thanks a lot,
for
bud.
some teams, honestly, it's a big deal to become bowl eligible. It's a trip.
Yes.
As a student athlete, you get it out of your just like normal routine. You get to go to a city, have a little bit of off time, enjoy a city, enjoy hanging out with each other. Though, I like to think that still is relevant for some people. I don't think I wouldn't say everybody.
Not everybody, but you need your stars. Back then, we got per diem, and we were like, "Hey, what are you gonna do with how much was per diem?
$86, maybe.
You got $86 when you went to a bowl game to get your cheeseburger, maybe play a little cards with the boys.
You had to spread that out over 5 or 6 days.
5 or 6 days, $86. You get to go down and stay where the Ducks walk past in the hotel.
The Peabody.
The Peabody. You took me to the Peabody after Memphis. My first year, you took me to Memphis, where it was cold. I don't know if we rode past Elvis's house. No one wanted to get out. That's how we felt. It was like, hey, guys, if you look out to the right of the bus, it's 25 degrees. If you gander out to the right side, there's Elvis's house. And the team was like, keep pushing. So then you took me to the Peabody, and the Ducks were walking by. It was warm. We had a great time.
Yeah, Disney World.
We got $86.
Epcot Center, $86.
Now you're talking
was down there.
Now you're talking kids that not everybody, but they got more than $86. And it's like, hey, like going to stay at the Peabody was a big deal. I mean, that was like the nicest place I'd stayed in my life.
Oh my gosh, that was insane. That was so nice.
It was the nicest hotel I'd ever stayed in.
And you get to and you get a continental breakfast every morning. That was incredible. You go down to the team like mess hall at one of the ballrooms.
Yeah.
And which conference is better top to bottom, the Big Ten or the SEC? I thought that was a trick question.
Yeah, that's not.
There's no debate in that this year.
There's not a debate
at all. We'd like for there to be a debate.
We would love for there to be a debate. In past seasons, there was a bit of a debate.
I think what happens is top to bottom.
They don't respect the bottom. They're not looking at the bottom.
Like the middle and the bottom of the SEC.
Yes.
Different. It's different.
They're not looking at they're looking at Ohio State,
Indiana, Oregon.
Yeah, 3 top 10 teams at the top. But then
Michigan, USC.
Your bottom falls out. They're not looking at the bottom of the SEC. We're just talking about like Mississippi State. They're near the bottom, but it's not an easy win.
Yeah.
Auburn is near the bottom, but it's not an easy win.
Jacob Rodriguez have a chance at a Heisman? Now, we had Travis Hunter last year win it as a corner, but he was playing receiver. He's returning punts. He's not going to. A win for Jacob Rodriguez would be getting invited to New York City. That would be a win. And I unfortunately don't think he's probably going to get invited.
No.
By the way, just doing Texas Tech and sitting down with him in a room and talking to he and Baron Morton the day before the game, Joey, you would be like, however you feel about Marcel Reed is exactly how you would feel about Jacob Rodriguez. I mean, holy cow.
He's a great player. What the linebacker award is the Butkus. The Butkus is
yeah. He should definitely win that.
Sign him up for the Butkus.
Almost every defensive award, he'll be right in the mix.
Let's not get carried away with the Heisman. Great player, but
yeah, Yeah.
No.
Well, he's knocked the ball loose with his punch 7 times.
Uh-huh.
He's got a couple picks. He recovers fumbles. He's the leader of that defense. But Heisman's, that's a tough deal. A better defense, Texas Tech or Indiana. Been so impressed with Indiana's defense. Their defensive line, corner play. Oh man, Texas Tech's playing really good defense too.
Texas Tech just forced 3 turnovers against BYU. They look really good. Here's my one concern about Indiana's defense, and I said this on Saturday night.
Yeah.
At the end, when Penn State started to turn things around, it was their run game, and they were starting to make hay against Indiana's front 7.
Yep.
Which then set up the screenplay, because once you can run the ball, you can do a lot of other things.
Yeah.
In a team in Penn State with a young quarterback in Grunkemeyer playing,
It played great.
Had his best game.
Yep.
And a team, but they got to run the football, and I think they did that late against Indiana. That's a tough question. But if there's one crack I saw, it's like that's the one thing that was concerning to me about the Indiana defense at the end. I don't know that I'd pick one over the other, but that was just one small concern I had at the end of Penn State.
And I thought Katron Allen and Nicholas Singleton were going to be the best tandem in the country in the backfield, that they'd be running the football on everybody that they played.
Like Love and Price at Notre Dame.
Yeah,
that's what we
I thought they'd
we'd
be right
see
there. I thought they'd be right there
Penn
every
State.
game. Yeah, we've just not been able to see
We've not seen it.
I would give Texas Tech the nod there, but you're talking about 2 of the best defenses in the country. Any update on Franklin and Virginia Tech? There's no update that's going to be had until they make an announcement.
I told you last week that one. I don't understand that one. I told you I don't understand.
You don't like that fit?
No.
For who? For Virginia Tech or for Franklin?
I just think when we talk about these situations, and we talked about when you give somebody more resources, can they go further? And maybe does Virginia Tech have more resources than Penn State?
No, not right now. Maybe their future they will, but they have not shown that willingness.
Well, that's why that's kind of strange to me when you take a coach and you say he wasn't able to get over the hump.
Yeah, but he's in the Big Ten, and now he's in the ACC.
I think, to me, the ACC and the Big Ten are way more comparable than the Big Ten and the SEC.
Wow,
that would be an actual comparable.
Really?
Yes, comparable.
Wow.
Let me ask you, Mr. Wow. Is the Big Ten
I'm
closer?
not going to let that one go by.
No,
Holy
is the Big Ten closer to the SEC or the ACC right now, this season?
Gotta say the SEC, right? The ACC is poo.
Easy.
I mean,
you just had Georgia Tech ranked number 4.
I know, but I'm talking top to bottom. They're not having these last 2 weeks, dude. The ACC, they've disappeared.
They've chewed themselves up.
You take Clemson and Florida State out of the ACC discussion, and I still look at Virginia Tech as a traditional power. They haven't been in years, but
no.
I mean, you take 3 of your faces of that conference when it was put together, basically below 500. That's like taking Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan, and making them all irrelevant. I don't know. I think the Big Ten is closer to the SEC than the ACC. I'm not saying they're on par this year.
That's all I'm talking about is this year.
Strong statement from you.
Just this season, not past.
Yeah, I know.
Seasons.
Just this year.
Just this year, I think they're closer to you, just because the bottom half, of the Big Ten is not great.
Yeah. Okay. If OU and Texas I assume Texas both went out, how does that affect the SEC?
Texas would knock off Georgia for sure. OU would knock off Alabama. That is a lot of calculations because right now, here's the thing. Right now, with Texas and OU, Texas, Ole Miss, and Georgia all have 1 loss in the SEC.
Yep.
Bama, A&M, no losses in the SEC, and then you got that group. Then you have Vandy and OU with 2 losses.
I
I'm not
honestly,
that
I
good
don't
at
have
math.
I don't have a calculator on
I don't have that.
tiebreakers. I mean, if Texas beats Texas A&M, I have no idea. If they beat Georgia and they beat Texas A&M, I mean, they'd have 1 conference loss. I would assume they're in Atlanta, right? I have no idea. I got no idea how tiebreakers work.
Yeah, me either. I got nothing on that one.
Yeah. How about my question to you guys? What's a matchup you guys are hoping for in the playoffs? For example, Texas Tech versus Texas A&M. I learned last week Texas Tech really hates Texas A&M. They got a horse with its butt facing College Station. Yeah, they're not fans. Ty's got to slow down here. We're trying to get to as many as we can, but we can't get to all of them.
Hey, I'm so glad you're reading them and not me, because every time I see you like do that squint to see, like, what does that say?
Yeah. Like, but what's a matchup you'd love to see? I love the Texas A&M against Texas Tech matchup.
That's a great one. I
personally love any SEC Big Ten matchup because
I was going to say
they love to debate and
cross
argue
conference
who's better.
Stuff.
I love when those 2 teams or those 2 conferences.
I agree.
Go at it.
I agree with you.
Georgia, Ohio State, or A&M against Indiana. Like
I think
those are fun.
If you get some Alabama, Indiana type of matchup. Like, I agree with you. When the Big Ten at the top goes against SEC at the top.
Yeah.
I think those are your biggest matchups.
Yeah. All right, Ty, what do you have for us? What game is less relevant? Florida State against Bama or Notre Dame against Miami or even Texas against Ohio State? Florida State against Bama is completely irrelevant.
That this season?
The result from the results of this year.
I'm saying like that Florida State Alabama game seems like it was
it doesn't matter.
Long ago.
Now, Notre Dame and Miami matters.
That matters.
It doesn't currently, real quick, just from what we've been taught with the CFP, and Joey and I talk about this a lot. You get clusters. Clusters are 2 or 3 or 4 teams in the rankings where you're splitting hairs. I mean, the committee ends up putting one over the other,
Like, for example, A&M, Indiana, and Ohio State would be a cluster.
Yeah.
It would compare those 3 teams together.
So in that case, they look for opportunities to separate those teams. Head to head would be one of those indicators to separate. Conference champion at the end of the year. Is one of them a conference champion? Are 2 of them a conference champion? Is there something we can find a way to pull a team away from this cluster? So they look for head-to-head. They look for a conference championship. There are different parts that they look at to try to do that. And so, like for Notre Dame and Miami, Notre Dame is so far ahead of Miami that the head-to-head does not come into play.
Here's why it would matter, though.
If it ever gets to a point, I'm saying if it ever gets to a point where they're within 2 or 3 spots of each other, then I think you can make that case. But right now, it's irrelevant. Much more relevant.
The other reason, though, the other reason that the Miami Notre Dame game matters because it takes down the wiggle room for Notre Dame.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, not comparing those teams head to head, but now Notre Dame absolutely cannot slip up. If they had not lost that game, then they would have a little bit more of a leeway to not play great football. They have to play really good football to finish out to get in.
Yes, absolutely. I think Notre Dame is one of these teams right now that after they opened the season with a 3-point loss and a 1-point loss to Miami and then A&M, they knew what they were facing. I mean, they were basically in playoff mode for 10 straight weeks without a conference championship. And they've done their job. I think they've won 7 or whatever it is, 7 or 8 in a row. They got
with one close one, BC. Yep. The one close one they had was Boston College. It was dicey there for a while.
Yeah, and the USC game was competitive until they were able to. Yeah, and they got Pitt this week, which I think we would all agree this is their one last stumbling block because they get Syracuse at home. And then they go to Stanford. So if you're an anti-Notre Dame fan or you do not want to see Notre Dame get in with 10 wins, this is your week. This is the week that you're pulling for Notre Dame to go down? Because if they win this week in a tough environment against Pitt, then they're going to finish 10-2, and they're going to be in. What?
Don't jinx them.
I'm not jinxing them.
Because you know how that works. We do it all the time. Same thing with Indiana. We're like, they got a few games left before they go play Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game. Then they go on the road at Penn State, and all of a sudden, Penn State showed up.
Yeah,
you're like 5-loss Penn State team.
That's what's beautiful.
They ate their Wheaties.
You never know when that week's going to happen.
You just never know when it's coming.
How about this? What group of 5? I don't know what group of 5 right now. I guess they're saying which of the group of 5 teams. Like right now, last week in your ranking show, they didn't have one in the top 25.
Nope.
James Madison, of all teams, at least in the AP, they moved all the way up to 24. That group of 5 is tough to figure out. They are assured, even if some people, it's tough to know. Even if they don't have a top 25 team on the final rankings, the group of 5 still it's not like Notre Dame.
They still get in.
They get a team no matter what.
And the American has kicked themselves right in the nuts.
Yeah.
The American was set up that they were the leader in the clubhouse until Memphis gets knocked off. USF
South Florida's
gets knocked
still
off.
hanging around out there.
South Florida is right behind JMU and the percentage chances to get in. JMU has a tough schedule left. JMU does not have a cakewalk to get in. If JMU can win the rest of their games, I don't have their schedule in front of me. If somebody, JMU's next 3, I think, are somewhat difficult games.
Okay.
If they win those, they get in.
JMU plays App State, Washington State, and at Coastal Carolina. Those are their next 3.
They win the 3.
Well, then they're in the conference championship.
Where's USF? What are they?
Who?
Let's see. USF. Because
they're right. They're hanging right there. I mean,
they're right there. They're the next. When you talk percentage chances, USF is next.
They're a good team. They lost to Memphis on the road in a 34-31 game. Came right back and blew UTSA, and they've got Navy, UAB, and Rice. And then their conference championship. So
Navy will be
I'm guessing South Florida ends up.
You going South Florida?
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that one.
North Texas is another team that they're sitting down there. They got 1 loss. So they lost to USF earlier in the year. So they could end up being in there as well. But lots of fun, lots to get into. We got another question here. Would be the best possible coaching hire that Florida State could get them back to elite status? What do you have? Mike Norvell still has that job, by the way.
I was going to say, did something happen that I didn't know of? Mike Norvell's still there?
Yeah, he's still there. So until he is let go, we're not going to talk about it.
Yeah, I'm not.
Like to remind people to like this video, subscribe at the end of this show. If you would do that, we're having a lot of fun doing this. It seems to grow every single week. If you're a college football fan, we like to dig in and talk about a lot of different topics, hit all of the different conferences, the CFP rankings. Don't forget, Joey will be live on the CFP ranking show tomorrow night. What time is that show live, Joey? Is that like 8?
I think we're 7:30 tomorrow.
7:30?
I think 7:30. I'm not sure. But
And
I think
as soon as Joey is done, we'll hop on like this and kind of have a reaction to what the latest CFP rankings are. It should be a great week. So many big games coming up this Saturday. Even Friday night, there's some great games. I think Oregon's playing a game. I think Clemson's playing. There's games Friday night. But have a great week. Joey, appreciate you, man. Have a great week. Fun. We will catch up with you tomorrow night after the CFP ranking show. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
Sounds good.